For night court, a group of Twitter users suing President Trump for blocking them. One plaintiff says Mr. Trump blocked him 2 hours after tweeting Covfefe. The same guy who doesn't proofread his Twitter handles the nuclear button. Plaintiffs. Well, lawyers claim the president's Twitter feed is an official government account, and by blocking people, he's violating their First Amendment rights. DOJ lawyers argue that while tweets may be official statements, blocking followers is strictly personal. Let's talk about it with David Bruno, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. He's going to argue in defense of President Trump. And attorney Alex Swear is taking she's the legal affairs reporter for the Washington Times. She's going to take the side of the case in the defense of the blocked Twitter users. Thank you both for being with us tonight.
Good to see you, Shanna.
All right, I want to start by playing a little soundbite from one of the plaintiffs who doesn't like what's happening. Here's what he says.
By replying to Trump, I can bring all of my followers to the discussion that he starts on Twitter. And they all see his tweet, and they see my response, and they respond, and I respond to them. And it's sort of our modern-day town hall. And when he blocks me, I can't be part of that as myself.
Is that silencing his speech, David?
No, absolutely not. I mean, before we get into either whether or not that's a public forum, we first have to see if this is state action. And it is not. This is at real Donald Trump. This is not at POTUS. And the Supreme Court precedent on this is West versus Atkins. And it says that you have to get the power and the authority by nature of your position. Here, this is not through the president. This is his personal. So while he does make announcements on his Twitter page, it does not mean this is actually state action.
Okay. Now, one of the government attorneys argues this. Michael Baer, he says the appropriate analogy is not a town hall, but rather Trump choosing to walk away from someone at a public event. The president has an associational interest in deciding who he's going to spend his time with in that setting. So, Alex, if he doesn't want to hear you and he wants to block you, why is that not okay?
You know, I think that that's a fair argument, but at the same time, you know, this is an American taxpayer. He is paid as president by the American taxpayer, so shouldn't everyone be able to read his Twitter feed? The complaint actually cites a few interesting points. One is then former White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer did say that his tweets at Real Donald Trump are supposed to be official statements of the president, and the National Archives are actually keeping a record of at Real Donald Trump's Twitter account, which suggests that there is a government interest in these tweets.
Okay, so the judge, Naomi Rice Buchwald, is, according to Reuters, said that near the close of the hearing, Buchwald suggested the lawsuit could be easily resolved if Trump agreed to mute rather than block Twitter's users whose tweets he didn't want to read. Both sides' lawyers said they were actually receptive to the idea. David, I got to admit, that's my jam. You mute them. They don't know you've blocked them. You don't have to listen to them, and everybody's happy. David, could it work here?
Yeah, sure. That's the judge not wanting to make this decision because there is some political issues. One point I'd like to make is that they can still see Trump's tweets. It's not that they can't. In fact, it's a public profile, meaning that everybody could see it. What they can't do is they can't reply to his direct tweets. They can reply to others underneath the thread. So it really is limited as to what is blocked of these particular users.
All right, final word to you, Alex.
I think that I have to go with the judge on this. I think it's fair to say mute. That way there's a little bit of a settlement. Trump can't block, but the people can still interact, and he just doesn't have to be bothered by them.
It's interesting because I wonder if the judge would actually issue an order saying, I command the president of the United States to only mute people, and whether somebody would sit down on Twitter and go through it with him and how it all works and see if he'd be willing to do it. I don't know. It's interesting for night court, though. David and Alex, thank you both. Let us know at home what you think at Fox News Night or at Shannon Bream, how you'd rule on this Twitter dispute. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too. All right.